You are watching SHOUTcraft, your esports gateway drug, with myself, Total Biscuit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SHOUTcraft. My name is Total Biscuit. Got an epic grudge match for you here between the sparring partners, the Nemesis. It's Eek in the blue trunks playing Zerg versus his partner, Psyonicreaver. They play quite often, and Psyonicreaver is going to be playing the Terran today in the orange trunks. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I have no doubt about that. Here on the Blistering Sands, quite a close-knit map, quite brutal, and I expect brutality, no doubt about it. This occurred just after the release of patch 11, so we have our contestants actually discussing that at the moment and complaining about hard drive crashes, all this interesting stuff. But yeah, the patch 11 changes are quite diverse. There's an awful lot of different things that have been moved around, and I'm sure you may notice some of the differences in this particular broadcast. Early proxy barracks going up for Psyonicreaver there, building in very close. It's a little bit out of the way. He doesn't want to go too far in so that it gets scouted out, but he's putting in a nice location out of the way, and I would suspect at this point, if you build a barracks so quickly, especially with a refinery, then there's only one thing you're going to be doing here on the Blistering Sands, and that's popping out some very early Reavers. Extremely early Reavers are a very potent combination, although extremely risky. You throw them out there and you can jump up the cliff with them and absolutely annihilate the mineral line. At least that's no doubt what Psyonicreaver is hoping to do. As to whether or not that will happen, well, I don't know. We'll see if it works. Like I said, it is a risky strategy. The reason it's risky is that it cripples your economy early game. It requires you to build a barracks before building a supply depot, which limits the amount of SCVs that you can have out mining at any given time. That's not good at all. There's the tech lab going up right there. That's pretty much confirmation that the early game Reavers are going to be coming out. He's going to be rushing with them, and he's going to be throwing in as much as he can and just hoping that he's able to do enough damage to justify it. Bunker going up right there. This is a part of the early Reaper strategy. You generally find people that do this will drop a bunker as well, so the Reaper has somewhere to retreat. Allows the Reaper to live, and of course, with a bunker up, a Reaper can absolutely decimate a lot of early game units. It does more damage than a Marine, but it's very fragile. The bunker eliminates that particular problem. In the meantime, there's that supply depot going up at the back there for Psyonicreaver, and the bunker has been spotted. In come the drones to attempt to attack it. We haven't got a Reaper up just yet, but I would imagine it's coming very, very soon indeed. And once it does arrive, as we can see on the minimap there coming over, it's going to inhabit that bunker and it's going to decimate those drones. He's attacking the drone right there, backing his way into the corner, trying to get his SCV out of the way. That bunker's taking a lot of damage. He's going to have to fix it right now. He's going to try and take out those drones, which he'll be able to do in short order without any problem whatsoever. Moving in now towards the minimal line. Now there's the counter. 2 spine crawlers going up for Eek, who is desperately trying to counter this particular attack, driving those guys away from the minimal line. Now the Reaper will be able to take out those spine crawlers quite fast. He's going to try and build a couple more just to try and repulse them. 6 of those Zerglings coming out right now. They're not going to be able to do anything. He knows it. He's backing away. He doesn't want to go anywhere near it. Now, of course, once those spine crawlers go up, the Reaper attacks will become effectively pointless. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is whether or not it was even worth the effort to begin with. It was very expensive, and of course, it devastated his economy early game. He's now got 2 Reapers up. He's going to push his way in, try and avoid the range of the spine crawlers. Eek actually taking the spine crawler up and moving it forward. Now, with patch 11, these take a long time to root. They take 12 seconds total. He's trying to desperately take him down before that happens. It's not going to happen, and he's going to be able to root that and then start attacking both the Reapers and hit the bunker as well. Down goes 1, and the bunker is now under siege from that spine crawler. There's nothing that the Terran player can do about it right now. He's going to have to back off, and there he goes. Now, we'll have to analyze whether or not it was worth it. He managed to kill 12 drones with that, 350 resources worth, and he lost a single Reaper, plus of course the bunker went down as well, but I believe he was able to salvage that, so that's not too bad at all. And of course his economy was crippled early game. He wasn't able to get out an awful lot of SCVs. He's way behind in terms of his income, but if you have a look at it right now, because of the damage that was done to Eek's mineral line, that was actually worth it. And those Reapers are still alive right now, sneaking around right there and trying to micromanage against those Zerglings, actually driven into a corner, surrounded, and the Queen's coming in as well, but it's way too slow off of the creep. It's not going to be able to catch it. The really badly injured Reapers just barely escaping with their lives, jumping right back up there, going straight back in again, and Eek's going for the roaches right now, which is, again, not particularly surprising. If he keeps taking fire from those Reapers, is going to be in a lot of trouble. If he's able to pop out a couple of roaches, he'll be able to kill them quite quickly. Unfortunately, Reapers misjudging there and getting themselves stuck to the side of the cliff and annihilated. Now, he's decided to change over now. I can't say that I'm particularly surprised by that. Let's be honest, the Reapers have had their day. They're not all that effective anymore. Setting up his expansion right now. What he has been able to do is delay an early Zerg fast expansion. He's been able to slow down the economic growth of a Zerg player, which is pretty vital as far as I'm concerned for actually beating them. Counterattack coming in right now. We've got incoming roaches, 3 to be precise, and a single Zergling pushing themselves up there towards that fast expansion for the Terran player. They'll be able to get in there, they'll be able to bypass that bunker without any problem whatsoever. Only a single Reaper in there, and there's going to be a Marauder as well. The range won't be enough. He'll be able to bring his units around the side and attack from the back of the expansion there. More Marauders coming out, but right now the Terran player has some supply issues, doesn't have enough to build anything else, and those roaches able to drive away the Reaper. Reaper deciding to flee, and indeed that is the better part of Valor as far as I'm concerned. He's pushing himself forward and he's going for that fast expansion right now, trying to eliminate the SCV, and so he does. Additional SCVs come in to repair right there. Marauders pushing away the roaches very effectively. To be honest, I would give the rating to the Marauders at the moment. 2 Marauders would be able to take down 3 roaches. Admittedly, they may take a loss, so that's quite unpleasant nonetheless. Eek finally taking the opportunity to get his fast expansion up, and those roaches having to back off, realizing perhaps that this is not worth trying. Additional Marauders now out, so the early harassment via the roaches isn't going to make a difference. He's going to try and take that rock down as well, or at least do a little bit of damage to it. Now, the Marauders are out of range right now. You can see them on the minimap right, streaming around there. They're going to take the bunker, which should give them the range to attack the roaches. Roaches continue to fire there on there, and an additional Marauder moving in from the rear. That's going to get caught by the roaches if he's not careful. Nope, not going to happen. Driving that one away as well. Okay, now Psyonicreaver is fairly secure at this point in time, so the Zerg player is going to have to tech up, and that's exactly what he's doing right there. We've got a lair coming up momentarily, which will allow him to pop out some Hydralisks, maybe some Mutalisks later on. If he's going down the lines of a Marauder-heavy strategy, Hydralisks would be a good choice. Marauders do not get an attack bonus against slightly armored units, although they're fairly effective nonetheless. Hydralisks in large numbers will be able to shred them effectively. 2 Spine Crawlers have now been moved over there to defend the natural expansion, and right now we've got the second refinery finally going up for Psyonicreaver. Of course, he had the delays early as a result of his early game gambit that didn't quite pay off, to be honest. I don't know, it's difficult to decide whether or not it was worth the effort. He was able to delay a fast expansion for the Zerg, which was good. He was able to delay technology, and he was able to do economic damage. But in the process, of course, he crippled his early game economy. So I would imagine that we're not going to really see the repercussions of that until much later on in this particular game. Spire going up right now for Eek. He's going down the route of Mutalisks instead. Very smart move considering that his opponent is heavy on Marauders. His anti-air is effectively non-existent, only just popped up his engineering bay. And I expect to see a few missile turrets at some point once he is able to scout that out. Now, in the meantime, we've still got another Reaper coming up right there. He wants to try some harassment. He's not really going to get the opportunity to do so. He could hop himself in there, but with a Queen able to defend it, a single Reaper isn't going to make much of a difference. He can't find his way into the natural expansion there, so he's going to have to go for the main base if he wants to do anything with those Reapers whatsoever. A little bit of calm before the storm right now. Barracks going up for the Terran player once again. Still pushing that Marauder strategy, but I would imagine that's going to change rather rapidly once that Spire goes up right there, just about to finish. And he's got the resources to pop out at least a couple of Mutalisks and get that early game harassment going on with them. Right now, we've got a missile turret going out, and those Reapers have scouted, indeed, immediately building a missile turret as soon as it was spotted. He's not going to be able to kill the Spire, but that scout was useful. It'll give them some chance to prepare, and we don't have any missile turrets as of yet on the natural expansion. He'll be able to attack that, but his main base will be fairly secure by the looks of it. One missile turret up in the minimal line, second one coming up right there as well. Now, no production as of yet on the Mutalisk front. Looks like he's hanging back on that. Wants to really get his economy in good shape. A lot of drones coming out right now. Hydralisk Den just started building. Now, the Hydralisks will provide him with a good counter to the Marauders. Admittedly, if the Terran player decides to simply turtle in those bunkers with them, then it won't work out quite so well. Baneling Nest as well going up for the Zerg player at the moment. Giving himself a few choices, a little bit of variety. Metabolic Boost coming up right now, as well as Glial Reconstruction and a Corruptor for really no apparent reason whatsoever. I can't imagine why exactly that's coming up, but hey, we could see a late game Tech 2 Broodlords, assuming that the game goes on that long, although on a map like this, I have to very much doubt it. A single Corruptor will at least be useful for scouting purposes. You can't really complain. They're quite difficult to kill. They're quite quick. And they now have a new debuff called Corruption, which allows you to place a debuff on a target, and it will cause that target to take 20% extra damage. Lots of upgrades for the Zerg player right now. Grooved spines, metabolic boost, the pneumaticized carapace, which allows for his overlords to move even faster to scout out. He's really just going all out with everything he possibly can, giving himself the options and giving himself the choices as this game goes along. Now, the economic advantage, I would imagine, is slightly in favor of the Zerg player. Indeed, in terms of gas, absolutely. But roughly equal in terms of minerals coming in. Bear in mind, of course, that the Terran player often has the advantage in terms of mineral production thanks to those mules, and he's certainly pumping out plenty of those. Loads of barracks coming in right now. He's really going heavy into the infantry strategy. Nothing being produced from that factory as of yet. It will give him the option later on to go down the route of Starport. Centrifugal hoops upgrading. That's a speed upgrade for banelings, so it looks like he's definitely going to use them at some point. As to when, I really don't know. Now, if we look at the unit composition at this point in time, what we've got is 10 Marauders for the Terran player right there, 8 Marines and a single Reaper. He's doing well on the worker front, and look at all of those overlords. That's interesting. He might decide to use them as transports at some point, maybe do a drop with them. 22 Zerglings, which I'll imagine will become Banelings in the not too distant future. 5 Hydralisks, 3 Roaches, and that random Corruptor. What is he going to do with that thing? One has to wonder. He's probably going to go and have a look and scout things out. Corruptors are fairly hard to kill. They've got a reasonable amount of hit points, so he's going to have a look around and see what he can see with that, as opposed to sacrificing an Overlord, which are much easily killed. Moving in with a bunch of Zerglings right there. Gonna go and take that Reaper out. There we go. Om nom nom. Down it goes. Map control, as far as I'm concerned, in the hands of the Zerg player right now. We've got Psyonicreaver, who's just camping out as much as he can inside his natural expansion. Doesn't want anything bad to happen. Now deciding perhaps that he might want to go and get a little bit aggressive, moving in with a bunch of Marines, Marauders, backed up by some Hellions. That'll do the job. Now, it doesn't look like he's moving for the base, although he might be going for the back door. That's a possibility. It's now being scouted, so the Zerg player is aware of the presence, and Eek now moving forward, changing all of those guys to Banelings. That'll be a nice counter to that Bio Ball, as they call it, the ball of Marines and Marauders, biological units. That's why they call it the Bio Ball, and it is very effective, except when you cover it in a ton of acid, which is the plan of the Zerg player right now. Moving in, we're going to get some Reckoning right here. A lot of Banelings, and the Centrifugal Hooks upgrade is there, as you can see by the rather amusing rolling animation that you get there. Bunch of Roaches, bunch of Hydralisks, Banelings as well. That's going to end up being incredibly unpleasant. I do not rate Psyonicreaver in this particular encounter. We're going for the engagement right now, and it's going to get messy, and here we go. Early Zergling casualty right now as he moves in to try and get the terrain advantage, moving in at the point that he wants to. There we go, Stimpack and forcing fire. He's chest, but he doesn't want to get hit by that. He's going to get to anyway. Oh, God! Acid Bath for the Bio Ball, absolutely annihilated, and picking off the remainder with a massive, massive number of Roaches. Not good at all. Psyonicreaver crying a little bit in the channel about that, and to be honest, that might be the decisive engagement of the game. I don't really see what Psyonicreaver can do at this point, other than try and desperately hold on. We'll have a look at the production tab and see what's going on. He's throwing out a Marine Shield, Corvid Reactor, Ravens, by the looks of it, going for Corvid Reactor for the sole purpose of pumping out Seeker missiles, which will allow him to blow great gaping holes in that bunch of Roaches. But right now, that back door that we saw earlier, it's been weakened, and now he's going to go straight into it. The Terran player is being caught out of position. He's going to be able to force his way into the main base right now. Look at it, he's holding that line, hasn't done anything with it right now, and in goes that mass of Roaches with then just a Baneling there was a little bit of a mascot, more so than anything, and here he goes, and what the hell is the Terran player going to do right now? Absolutely nothing. Say it again, this is going to get absolutely brutal. Calm before the storm, not even going to bother attacking him. There we go. Wants to engage him on the ramp. He's got his own ramp secured right there. And that Raven popping out a single turret. That's all he can do. Doesn't have the Seeker missile upgrade. Roach is deciding, hey, why bother engage those slowpokes? Let's force our way into the base and do some brutal damage. And focusing fire right now. And here we go. This is the decisive engagement of this battle. And Psyonicreaver defeated soundly there with a lot of casualties for the Zerg player. But quite frankly, Zerg player had the economic advantage. Was able to force his way through there. And the Terran has absolutely nothing he can do right now. Looking at the unit count, he's got 3 Marines and 2 Ravens. What does he expect to do? Well, quite frankly, nothing. I'd expect to see Psyonicreaver giving up momentarily, forcing his way into the base and swarming everything he possibly can, dissolving them in delicious Zerg saliva. It's not pleasant, and there you go. Psyonicreaver perhaps deciding that the Baneling is a little bit unfortunate. Yes, indeed. Don't worry, as a Terran player, I feel your pain. It's very, very unpleasant indeed. There we go. GG, says Psyonicreaver. And a very nice game indeed there. Now, what could Psyonicreaver have done differently? Honestly, I think Psyonicreaver was a little bit crippled by his early game strategy, sending in that early Reaper to do a lot of damage. Yeah, he managed to do the economic damage, but he also crippled his own economy, which means he wasn't able to tech up quickly enough. He wasn't able to respond quickly enough, and more to the point, he gave the Zerg player way too much time to build up an army. The last thing you want to do against the Zerg is allow the Zerg to beat you in terms of economy, which is exactly what ended up happening in this particular game. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Total Biscuit. Thank you to Psyonicreaver, and thank you to Eek for playing this particular match. Absolutely brutal, fantastic play by both parties. I shall see you on the live stream, and you can see there the Wednesday and Saturday shows are available, and there's also a show on Thursday at the same time as the Wednesday one. That's 7 p.m. British Standard, 8 p.m. Central European Summer Time, or 2 p.m. Eastern over on tinyurl.com/shoutcraft. Now, just a FYI, we are still on live stream right now. We're intending to move over to Ustream at some point in the not too distant future. I'll keep you posted. Keep an eye on your bulletins and announcements on youtube.com/totalhalibut. Thank you very much, ladies and gents, and I shall see you next time.